Welcome to the Comal Independent School District. As you can see by this hallway, that it is unprecedented time that we're dealing with. So we would like to provide more information to you as parents and our teachers and our staff. So welcome to 2021 School Launch. Really appreciate everybody joining in this afternoon. I know there's a lot of information that is out there and a lot of perhaps even opinions about our school district and the opening of the 2021 school year. What I would like to do is try to provide a general understanding about what we have been planning for and what we're thinking about here in the Comal Independent School District. Certainly there's a lot of, once again, news reports, and certainly we'll try to address those things as appropriate as time comes up. This is right now, though, our current plan at this particular time. Certainly, though, if you have questions related to the school district and the work, please always email us at communications@comalisd.org. This information that you do send as feedback and concerns, as well as well wishes, and we received a lot of those, and we do appreciate that very much. We do get those directly. We look at those, we curate those, and certainly we'll turn some of those into our FAQ questions that will benefit all parents and all staff members in our school district. So far, though, I will give you a general understanding about where we've been. As you know, this whole thing started sometime around spring break last year. It seems so long ago, but not that long ago. So on March the 16th, truly everything has changed. We had our board meetings. We started out with our home learning opportunities. That was emergency launch, that's the word. We obviously started our residence learning program. We started, of course, our remote teacher hours. Our board of trustees has been involved throughout that whole entire process, as well as our PTA advisory and even our student advisory that I meet with on a regular basis. We were lucky enough to have a graduation ceremony for all of our graduating seniors, and it was a wonderful event, and we really do appreciate all the parents who cooperated with us with that. We then soon thereafter launched the strike force committees. We had a multitude of administrators, some of our teachers, and some parents involved in coming up with ideas, discussions regarding to the start of the school year, and that took a long time. We've been waiting since then two guidance, though, from the state of Texas, from the governor's office by way of the Texas Education Agency, and those have been issued to us. One guidance is regarding the guidance related to instructional learning and attendance collection for students. If we recall, the last 10 weeks of last school year, all of that was suspended, so we did not take attendance, and we certainly did not even have the STAR test. But going forward, how is that going to operate? So we need to know that information. The second information, which just came out a week and a half ago, was related to the health guidelines. And that information now guides us about how we can operate on a day-to-day basis as a school. And so we are right now fast working with those things and then merging that information with the Strike Force Committee recommendations to come up with our plan that you will see here in some part as we think about the opening of the school year on August 25th, 2020. Before I begin, though, going into in-depth about our work with our schools, I do want to share with you the purpose of what our institution is about. The purpose of the Comal Independent School District is to educate our students. We want to make sure that our students are the academically high performing. We want to put them into the best positions as a productive citizen. Now, to do that, of course, for the upcoming year and every year, we have to really think about their health and safety as well as their wellness. And I do want to, though, ensure that our purpose is to make sure that that is taking place. With that, though, I do want to point out a perspective of sort that our nation has faced a multitude of crises in our history, and we have overcome them together. And I encourage us to think about that from a perspective, as well as our mission at hand, to make sure that our students are safe, but also are on a day-to-day basis, providing academic support so that they can achieve their greatest dreams in the world. But once again, together we believe that we can do this. And this is why we're here at this particular point for our launch Back to School 2020-21 school year. And we have developed 4 guiding principles here in the Comal Independent School District to help us think about how we will be launching our school year here soon. The first guidance is back to normal. We would like to resume classes on August 25th according to our academic calendar. We will certainly want to have on-campus opportunities for students who would like to be here, and we would like to have normal operations as possible with health guidelines that are in place. Obviously, we would offer remote learning opportunities, and those would be synchronous or live instruction, as well as perhaps even asynchronous instruction for those courses as well, so that parents or students can obtain those at any given time during the day. And we want to provide extracurricular and recess and other opportunities that we normally would have provided for all of our students remotely or on campus. That's very important to us as a school district. As you know, many of you know, our school district is predicated on this notion of choice and opportunities, and we want to do even a greater job even under these circumstances. The second guiding principle of our school district is ownership of wellness. And I really do mean this notion of ownership because we are all going to have to take part in this work. Unfortunately, we can't just do this by ourselves. We can't just leave it up to our custodians. We can't leave it up to our teachers. We certainly can't just leave it up to just one of us to do this. We're going to have to all participate and work cooperatively in this regard to make sure that our students are here on a day-to-day basis, have an opportunity for school on a day-to-day basis, as well as be as safe and taken care of from a wellness perspective on a day-to-day basis. Currently, we do have guidelines as dictated by Texas Education Agency, and those guidelines are health screeners for staff, students, and visitors. And we'll be providing that opportunity for all of our parents and our staff for free of charge, a screener process, facility cleanliness, social distancing, and hygiene practices. Now, we've been on a massive cleaning process since the summer of the school year. In fact, during even the last 10 weeks of the school year, we contracted out with a third-party vendor to clean all of our campuses, and we'll be doing so next school year. We have purchased additional cleaning supplies as well as additional chemical supply lists that are safe for all of our cleaning supply issues with COVID-19 as we go forward. And you can see what a COVID-19 self-screener will look like. And it's going to be done through an app process that will provide that information for you as we get closer to the start of the school year. And it'll be free of charge. By the way, that screener information will be deleted on a day-to-day basis. It will not be shared with anybody. It will be held to a higher degree of privacy. So I do want to address the elephant in the room, though, and that is in regards to face coverings. Right now, we will be following the governor's executive order regarding the wearing of face coverings for all students and staff members or adults 10 years and older. And that's a very important distinction to note. Now, the question obviously comes at this time about students who are below 10 years old. What do we do with that? We're going to highly encourage as a school district for parents, for students to really work with us and have face coverings for even students who are younger, in the younger ages below 10. We think, once again, that's very important. Let me tell you why. Because we think that if the goal is to be on campus every day, and we want to have the economy open, we want to have consecutive days of school without disruption, then one of the ways to do that is certainly to have an antiviral drug or a vaccine available. But in lieu of that, right now, from what I understand, the face covering will be the best way to take care of this. And with the governor's executive order, we do want to follow this, and we want to have that available. It's very important for us to, once again, to be in school as many days as possible, and we want to offer that opportunities for all of our students remotely on campus. So I think it's very important for us to follow this, and that's why it's important. To that, I would like to address guiding principle number 3, response to cases. And the way we will respond to any potential cases that arise, one or two or many, will be through our case management process, communication, and facility cleanliness process. To that, I would like to let you know, here are the steps in response based upon TA guidelines in terms of how we respond to any of the positive cases. 1, it must be lab confirmed positive case, meeting the 3-step health criteria. 2, experiencing any symptoms. Or 3, exposure to confirmed positive quarantine and will be quarantined for 14 days. These are the 3 levels of cases that we will be monitoring as a case management process. And when we follow this and these guidelines, so in a typical classroom, if a student is confirmed with a positive case and is notified of that to us by a parent, then one, we will keep that information private and confidential. But as a result of that, all students within that classroom will have to stay home for 14 days according to the Texas Education Guidelines. If, however, though, if a student was confirmed positive with all the students just about having face covering, and there's a positive case, then only the student testing positive will have to stay home, and the others can return to school as normally as possible. Now, we may have a situation in many of our classrooms, we anticipate this, where some of the students will be wearing a face mask and some will not. If there is a confirmed case of a student with a positive case, then only the student testing positive and students not wearing the face covering will have to stay home 14 days to quarantine. And once again, that's following the guidelines that currently exist. Now, we do know that social distancing also helps out, where we are able to accommodate. And I'm going to be quite candid with all of you. You do know that many of our schools may not be able to do so because of the overcrowding situation that we do have. As a result of that, where we can afford to accommodate social distancing, and if a situation arises in that classroom where there is a positive case, then only the student testing positive and students not wearing a face covering in close proximity will have to stay home for that situation. As you can see, the importance of face covering to day-to-day operation or day-to-day attendance of a student, to have some continuity of routine and consistency, we think that the face covering is a very important thing at this particular point. In fact, having that gives us an opportunity to have school on each day, have normal operations at each day. So once again, we really want to encourage everyone to participate. We really want everybody to cooperate with us and help us support this. Certainly our teachers are wanting this as well. So I think it's a very important thing that we all work together here in the Comal Independent School District. Now, I will say this. The compliance on this is going to be very different, or they're very difficult, I should say. Meaning that there's not really an enforcement attached to these executive orders by the governor's office. We also know that as parents, you have different expectations or potentially expectations of us. As teachers and staff, they have expectations of us as well, too. So all these three areas come into play. And unfortunately, we're stuck right in the middle in that gray area. What I would hope, though, and what I would expect and what I would wish for is that we transition to a notion of cooperation. That for the benefit, once again, for all of our students and our teachers, for those all who will be serving at the campus, and then for the very fact that we would like to have consecutive days of school as normally as possible, we would like to get into the notion of cooperation by all three of these entities to make sure that we can make school as normal as possible for all of our students. Once again, though, part of our work as response to cases, as our guiding principle number 3 states, is communication. We believe that communicating or over-communicating and appropriately communicating with you in terms of what's happening on a day-to-day basis is very important. So there are 3 levels of communication for us. In person, so the person who has been confirmed or symptomatic will obviously be communicating with that parent as well as a student, the department or the class that student has been associated with, and generally the school-wide community as a whole. Certainly, we will make sure that privacy, confidential information is protected at all 3 levels. So here's how it will look. If there's a positive case, certainly there will be a phone call and information to be shared with that parent or the student about what's going on. There will be an email or phone call to that class, obviously protecting the privacy of the student, but general information about that situation through our case manager at the campus level and district-wide. And then we will have a school-wide general information as well in terms of what's going on so that all of you are aware of the incidents that are going on. We have done this through our strength and conditioning process during over the summer months, and we've been practicing this communication tree, and it's really gone well. And we feel like we've been achieving a level of communication to all of our folks, and I think generally making everybody aware of what's going on. So once again, communication for us is going to be very important to our work. Now, I will say this. If there is a viral spread due to internal factors, meaning that multiple students are getting confirmed due to being in school. So it is a very difficult task to determine this, but TEA does allow, if that were to be the case, that we can close up to 5 days, but must come back after the 5th day of school. So in many ways, we'll never be closed for 14 days as a school or a classroom or a school district. We'll be closed up to 5 days and then come back if there is a degree of viral spread due to internal factors that we can identify. Once again, this will be a different threshold for every school district. Certainly, I'll be making decisions on data in terms of how this goes for our school district here in the Comal Independent School District. Now, having said that, the governor of Texas can override by closing down the school year, and so certainly he has that authority to do so even further than the 5 days that we are given as part of our state guidelines. The last guiding principle, number 4, is communication information. Once again, we believe that communicating appropriately is very important. To that, we will be launching, as part of this webinar, Comal Parent Center that you'll be hopefully bookmarking to your browser and all your information. Comal Parent Center is part of our website, and it will be all the information regarding COVID-19 and the launch of the 2021 school year. And you will have information related to Comal Radio, Comal Live, as well as information related to on-campus, remote learning, mental health awareness, health and safety guidelines, meal distribution, attendance and grades, special programs, extracurricular information, and a lengthy FAQ questions that many of you have been submitting to us. So information regarding all related to the next school year under the COVID situation will be available to the Comal Parent Center. So I hope that you engage with that. This will be our main area that we will put all of our information for you. So once again, our 4 guiding principles here in the Comal Independent School District is number 1, we would like to get back to normal. We want everybody to have ownership of wellness, our teachers, custodians, and you, and our students. We want to make sure that we have a thorough way to respond to cases. We want to make sure that we communicate and provide additional information to all folks within our school district. I hope that you will know these 4 guiding principles and talk about these guiding principles with those of your neighbors and those who you interact with on a day-to-day basis. Now, as you think about these things, certainly any feedback would be great, and additional information will be shared with you in an upcoming webinar information for you, and additional information that we'll be sharing out in our Comal Parent Center. Now, as we think about these, we have to think about also what are the scenarios for the school that will be opening next school year. And for us, we have thought about 4 different ranges of issues that we may be dealing with as a school district that is unknown to us. Hypothetically, all parents could decide to stay remotely at home. In fact, the governor of Texas could override all of us and make a decision to close down the state again and make us all be remote schooling again, once again, as he fits based upon the results or based upon the data points that he has available. A second scenario could be somewhere where we have greater than 20% or so staying remotely at home by parent choice, and then about 80% or less than that coming to school on a day-to-day basis. We also could have a hypothetical situation where less than 10% stay home for remote learning, and about 90% attend school. And then the other side of the range is where all students decide to come back to school on a day-to-day basis. Now, from an academic perspective, from an instructional perspective, when kids are all here with us on a day-to-day basis, we know what to do. We've done that, and we believe that we can do better, but we've done a good job of that. Now, of course, with health guidelines in place, we got to think about how do we make sure that students are, when they're all here, how do we make sure that all those things are taken care of? That's a very difficult thing to do. Now, if 10% or less are remotely learning, 90% are here. That actually is our toughest situation to deal with. So not only do we have to deal with health guidelines for the majority of kids who are attending school on campus, but then we have to figure out remote learning options and make sure the quality of that is just as good by those kids who are on campus. So that will be our most challenging scenario that we deal with. In fact, 20% or greater staying home remotely, with 80%, might be our most manageable situation as a scenario, meaning that we're able to perhaps identify teachers as remote teachers, for obviously our teachers who are on campus, and because student numbers will be down, because we do have a greater percentage of kids remotely learning, we may be able to social distance where we can, even more so when we have that scenario materialize. And of course, if all students are at home, obviously the remote learning instructional side will have to be improved, obviously, but at the same time, what we won't have to necessarily worry about so much will be the health concerns when they're here with us. So these are the ranges that we've been thinking about and pondering upon what are the scenarios that we'll be dealing with as a school district. So here's what we need to know from you. In fact, this afternoon, today, you'll be getting an information to decide, non-binding information to us at this time, what we're calling the pre-commit, to determine whether or not you're thinking about remote learning for your child or on-campus learning for your child at this time with what you know. So from July the 14th through July 20th, we're going to be asking you one simple question to pre-commit your child, one way or the other, so that we can start figuring out a plan of which way we need to plan from a management perspective, from staffing, as well as resources. So we would appreciate that very much if you can participate and let us know. Now, once again, this is a pre-commit, so like a verbal commit that you will make at this particular point. And it'll be for about a 9-week term, which is a grading period for us. And every 9 weeks, you get to redetermine your commitment once more. But on August 11th, before school starts, in fact, 2 weeks before the school starts, we will ask you for a final commitment going into the start of the 2021 school year on August the 25th. So look for that on August 11th. But for now, we'll be asking for a pre-commitment information from you. So please participate if you can. With that, there is a question that I know everyone has. If I decide to go remote learner for my child, will my child be available? Can my child participate in extracurricular activities at school? And the simple answer from the Texas Education Agency is left up to the superintendent to decide on this issue, so every school district will vary. In the Comal Independent School District, this is what I believe. I believe that if you are enrolled into the Comal Independent School District as a student, and you meet local and UIL eligibility, that you ought to have the opportunity to participate in extracurricular activities, even if you are a remote learner. So I will grant that and support parents who are thinking about remote learning, certainly participating in extracurricular report. I believe in this because, one, I believe that all parents are making very difficult decisions with the best intentions. And best intentions are for kids to be remotely learning, but have opportunities to participate, and we're going to try to make that available and work with you on that regard. Hopefully that we can all, once again, cooperate on this without judgment and understanding that we want to give everybody the respectful understanding about their own decisions for their own child. Now, there's been a lot of question about what happens, though, if there is an outbreak and there is an increase in confirmed cases with the COVID. Many school districts have decided to address this by extending the school year calendar into June, late June, to have additional days in their calendar for makeup days. So the way it works is this. For us, we will be looking to extend the school start and end times in order to buy additional minutes per student, in order to have additional days banked in to our overall minute calculation. First and foremost, this discussion about a school start and end time change has been discussed for some years now here in the Comal Independent School District. And mainly because we run a 2-tier transportation system. So all of our buses run an elementary route, And those same group of buses then run a middle school and high school combined route or secondary route. Because we are opening brand new schools, brand new high schools, we've been in discussion about moving to a three-tier transportation model. A three-tier transportation model is the same buses doing the elementary route, then those same buses then do the middle school route, and then the same buses doing the high school route. We have enough schools now at each categorical level to be able to do that very efficiently, and will provide additional relief to our transportation buses, to our route system, and to our staff at the transportation department. Now, this will be the most optimal when we have High School 5 open in the year 2021, but because of the COVID-19 situation, we will accelerate this decision and move forward with opening this school year, this coming year of 2020-21, with school start and end times in that regard. To that, as you can see at the very top, this is our current school start and end time at 7:40 a.m., 3:05 p.m., 8:45, and 4:10 p.m. What that does is it calculates at 445 minutes per day. Annually, that's 73,235 minutes. We also file waivers for professional development for 2,100 minutes, and another waiver called the school safety minute calculation for 420 minutes. So annually, with all of that, is 75,755 minutes. So in the state of Texas, every student needs to record 75,600 minutes per year in order to count as a school year. So if you look at the current year, in the current calendars, with the current school start and end times, we have an additional 155 minutes of surplus, which does not give us any additional surplus days because TEA, the Texas Education Agency, considers 420 minutes as a day. So as you can see, we don't meet that. With a 10-minute additional school start and end time built in, you can see that we actually bank in additional 1,825 minutes, which is about approximately 4 days of additional days that we banked in. And with that, plus the 2 bad weather makeup days, that's 6 additional days we'll have in our calendar to use here and there, potentially to be able to make up if there is an increase of outbreaks or we need to close down a situation to do a campus cleaning up process. So we feel like this is the best option for us at this time to give us flexibility. What it does, though, is it adjusts as you can see, the school beginning and end times. And obviously, there is some adjustments to that. But I hope that you see the benefits of this as a whole going into the school year coming up. So as a result of that, we'll be launching the academic calendar. The only change that you will see on this is that school start hours at the very top. And that will be the only thing. We have not changed any dates, any information in the calendar, but really just the school start time and end times has been changed, and that information will go out here shortly as well, and it'll be posted in our Comal Parent Resource Center. So as a quick parent checklist, we want you to think about the pre-commitment and let us know between the days of July the 14th to July 20th. We will have a new Skyward, which is our new student information system enrollment process. July 21 is when we'll begin for all returning students, for my kids as well. And for all new students, they will begin that process on July 28th. And by the way, we've had a huge numbers of new students still coming into our school district, which we appreciate. We want you to also bookmark the Come Out Parent Center once that goes live. Follow us on social media. Listen to Come Out Live for information related to how we're thinking about the school year. And then think about the final commitment on Declaration Day on August 11th and thereafter. And certainly practice good hygiene practice for all students. In the upcoming webinars, information shared with you, we will talk more deeply into about school operations. How is lunchrooms going to look like? How is the hallways, the restroom breaks, the hand washing stations? So we'll talk more about those in the upcoming sessions. We'll talk more about types of student schedules that you'll likely see and what it looks like. Obviously open houses, volunteer meetings, visitor protocols, and competition schedules, meaning extracurriculars. There's a lot of questions about, are we going to have football? Are we going to have volleyball? Are we going to have baseball? So those are things that I think we're still waiting on as information, and we'll share with you at some time here as we get the information. So please look for additional information coming out. Once again, please start looking at information updates on Comal Parent Center. Information will be shared with you. This PowerPoint will be shared on that particular website as well. And right now I'm sharing with you a QR code that you can go right now to go ahead and use to get to your Comal ISD Parent Center for all the information that we have put up. And we've already put a lot of FAQ questions, so please look at those and let us know if you have any questions. With that, I want to thank everyone for the participation in this webinar. Thank you for your understanding, your cooperation, your patience. We are very blessed to have all of you. We're blessed to have our students in our school district, and we look forward to a great start of the school year here on August 25th, 2020. Thank you very much.